This summer, Simon Morrow, Terry Hart, Knobs, an audio production podcast. Remember to like and subscribe.
Got to open up this dark chocolate
This 85%er.
and my man's coffee that is soy decaf. How Italian is that?
Unbelievable. Is that Italian? Or would Italians like roll over in their grey?
I think my grandparents would be laughing at me. It's like having a cappuccino with a focaccia. You don't do it.
I have this hankering to go to Italy and eat a focaccia with a cappuccino now. More
Do
than
it.
anything I've ever done.
Do it after lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then order pizza with pineapple.
Just upset as many people as possible.
Great podcast. Well, let's wrap it up there.
Yeah. I think we covered everything we need to.
Oh, there was one thing we were going to quickly talk about.
We're going to talk about technological innovation.
Yes.
So it's like a bit of an adjunct to the AI episode 2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But not just that. The fact is, this isn't the first time this has happened. It's a pretty young industry, the recording industry.
Yep.
And there's been endless technological advancements in the last, what do you call it, 50, 60, 70 years?
Yeah, I mean,
From wax cylinders to tape to digital.
I guess it'll all unravel and come back to us as we start the thread.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's the macro stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like the wax cylinder and vinyl and tape, and then digital tape, and then hard discs.
Digital tape, I remember that. Mini discs.
Yeah, exactly. Mini discs.
They were supposed to be such a big thing and it just didn't last.
Yeah. And then there's also just the last year's interface.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
you know, there's those big disruption type things, and how, I guess with hindsight, we can look at, you know, how people reacted maybe poorly or how people reacted well.
Because there's really two schools of thought. So there's people, they'll hit that new stuff and they'll be like, oh no, this is going nowhere. I'm sticking to the old ways. They're the real ways.
Yeah.
Or the early adopters and realize that, like, you know, get on the wagon or get left behind.
Yeah.
Right? And it's hard to read the terrain on that.
Yeah. And it was, I guess, really before my time, because I started engineering when tape was pretty much a thing of the past, unless you were at one of the big studios.
Unless someone specifically wants this idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and even then, the system of choice was, well, a Pro Tools Mix Plus system, like the black interfaces.
Yeah.
Mix Farm or whatever they were called back then. But I did work on ADATs, the very first Project Studio that I worked in had.
Well, for a long
3
time,
ADATs.
people were doing that and mixing to them and things like that, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I heard stories of people putting 24-track 2-inch tape machines literally next to the bin out the back of the studio and bringing in ADATs, or before that, bringing in the Sony Dash machines.
And it was the same story when tubes first went, transistors came in. A lot of people would do LA2As, would just put them out the back as we don't have to change tubes again. It's all done. We don't have to worry about that. And
yeah.
It's happened a lot.
Yeah, and, you know, a lot of that stuff can stem from the company mentality, because I think, you know, us studio owners hoard equipment,
A little bit.
whereas an institution like, you know, the ABC, where the product has been written off, there's not really much they can do with it other than put it out, or sell it for not much.
And they do. It's those big companies that do seem to jump ahead on updating. It's like, oh, this is where it's going. Let's just get it done.
Yeah, and part of that can be driven by, if you don't spend the budget this year, you don't get it next year, which is stupid.
And technology might drive that a bit as well. I mean, I know the SSLs came out, and at some point, I mean, they had the rear bus, but then when you got to the K&J SSL, they introduced the full setup and the bus scenario so that you could do 5.1 and 7.1, but they were very early adopters. They saw that that's where it was going, so they made sure their desk could do it. But then if you were the ABC and buying a new desk, well, that's
Yeah.
integrated.
Yeah.
So the technology would force you there as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's interesting because, like I guess the thing for us now would be Atmos, whether it takes off
Atmos
or
and
not.
AI is the two big things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're seeing interfaces come out with Atmos enabled and Atmos tools, and is that because Atmos is the way forward, or is it just like you mentioned? It's like, well, that console that's got 7.1, so we need to do 7.1.
Yeah. Because it's a hell of an outlay if it's a fad.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not to go off on an Atmos tangent, but it's a very enjoyable and interesting experience. I find that it can be hit and miss with the different mixes because there's no kind of like, we're all still trying to figure out how to use it.
Or every bit of our gear is stereo.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes it a little difficult.
Yeah. But it is interesting to look at how the technology has changed and where things, as you said, putting LA2As out as a doorstop, and then now they're being hoarded if they're originals.
Absolutely, yeah.
And it's just
kill
that
for 'em.
Yeah, we've had the opportunity to. I guess the greatest opportunity is to look back and literally take the best bits of all of the eras.
Yeah.
So digital is one of those things that is actually pretty great. Like right now, is pretty great. 20 years ago, it was okay at the top. It was pretty bad at the consumer level.
Yeah.
I remember I had a Sound Blaster 16 sound card, and they were noisy. They were horrible.
Not good. You could hear the computer processing.
You could hear. You could. Yeah. You move the mouse and you hear that. Yeah. So digital's come a long way, and to the point where even the entry level stuff is pretty good. So I think that definitely over the time we can really pick and choose the.
And that was a good thing. I mean, tape is great, and I love the sound of it, but I don't want it on everything. If I can record a record and do the drums to tape, but then other things to digital, like it would be nice to have the option.
Yeah.
But then when you were just forced into it, I can understand why people just went, you know what, I'm sick of pulling out razor blades to do a crossfade. Like, you'd abandon it immediately.
Yeah. And even just having to sit and wait while the song rewound.
That's true, yeah. You get maybe, I think we usually get 15 minutes on a 2-inch tape.
Yeah.
So that's 3 takes.
Yep.
Then and even towards the end when you had digital, so okay, well, let's pick the one of those we like, put it onto Pro Tools. You'd have to record it real time, delete the tape, start again. It slows down the day hugely. Yeah.
Which also could be a good thing. Like now, now he's
brought the guitarist is sitting there, comes up with an amazing line in that 15 minutes or whatever.
We can have 1,000 takes, we can have 200 tracks, and we don't have a moment to sit back and reflect.
Yeah.
It'd actually be interesting to know how many times during the rewind break, the people had epiphanies.
The magic happened, yeah.
Or just realize that actually it's okay.
This is probably why we don't smoke and drink all that much in the studio anymore, because we just don't have time. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, that's why I don't.
Yeah. I've seen you on the weekends, you scallywag.
Scallywag. Yeah, it would probably burning tofu on the
yeah, exactly
in the saucepan.
Well, but look, about this, I thought an interesting one to do because it's sort of had its full. The full cycle's gone through. It was introduced in our lifetimes. We explored it. We made mistakes, and we've gone through it. Would be quantization. So that was introduced.
Yep.
We had Beat Detective, and suddenly we could, go down to a note by note level and lock it to the grid. And I don't know about you, but I went through the phase. I mean, when I first saw it, I thought this is amazing.
Yeah.
Let's lock these drums in. And made the mistake of locking basically every single hit in, and quickly learned that wasn't it. But I've had some artists that sometimes you do recordings for artists, but they have some production chops, and they're going to save money by editing themselves. But I remember they brought in the record in so that I could keep working on it. And I'm like, what the hell's happened to this? I said, oh man, we've been working on it for weeks. We took every single beat and just locked it to the grid. And I was like, it's solace, guys. And I like the original take was underneath. It's like, could you just have a listen to this compared to what you've done? And the guy was almost tearing up. He's like, he wasted 2 weeks of his life. And I mean, these would have been 10-hour days, what he was doing.
Yeah.
But it's easy to do because you have it there. You can sit there and like, oh no, music should be in time. And but we've been through that now. I think quantization, I still use it a lot, but I'll pick my battles. I'll be like, okay, this song's driven by the one, so maybe I'll just lock in the bass drum and have the rest of the drums just move around. Or if it's a backbeat song, I'll lock in the snare and leave everything. At most, I'll do the kick and snare, but I haven't done a whole drum section locked in for like, I think I've done one in like the last 10 years. It was an alt metal thing, which just kind of
needed that.
It needed to be done. The drummer wasn't quite there on that, but yeah, it's just gone through it, went through the full cycle, learned it, overused it, and came out the other end unscathed, sort of. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're great at editing, and that's the thing. You know, we get really, really skilled at these transparent editing techniques. Yeah. And then when the day comes that you've got an orchestral recording and you need to drop in 2 notes in the middle of a bar, you can do that.
Yes,
or you've got a really great drum player, and the take doesn't need editing, but there are multiple takes and you want to take one fill from this other thing from another take, but there's a different,
so easy to do.
But they hit a different cymbal beforehand. So it's like you're well practiced at solving those editing problems. But yeah,
you know, on that, I've actually gone back to tape a little bit with that. You remember the drop in on tape?
Yes.
So you'd be rolling, they'd be listening to the track, you drop it in for a bar or whatever, or you do it with vocalists. I've gone back to doing a bit of that.
I've been doing that too.
Yeah, sometimes it's the right vibe as opposed to just pulling in another take. If you're paying attention, it's like, no, we're in a different place now. While you're on it, you should sort of do it. Yeah.
And I think this is I also want to talk about quantizing as well, but on the point of the drop-ins, and when you have great musicians, the drop-in is perfect because you get to the end of the take and the bass player will say, I just need to punch in, two bars before the second chorus, and also I think I want to have a go at the last chorus again. The drum will say, I just need to get that fill into the bridge. Yeah. And you just go back and you drop those bits in. And I would always say, well, let's just check which cymbals we're ringing out at the time. Let's just check the energy of the like how intensely were you playing at the time. Let's just give them some lead in to remember the intensity, play along with themselves for a couple of bars, and drop it in. Yeah. And it's so much cleaner, and
they feel better. They won't come out of it going, I think that take was a bit off, we need another take. Yeah. The fact is, a lot of times when they say that, they mean they miss one note in verse 2. It's like, well, who cares? We can fix that. Like,
And that's probably another example of with digital, it's far too easy to say new playlist. Yeah. Whereas on tape, you're not going, look, let's just get another spool of tape and put it on, and we'll just get another take just in case it's better. Yeah. You go, actually, that was 90% great. So let's just go back and fix those little issues.
Yeah, much easier.
Question. Yeah. Are you bold enough to do destructive record when you punch in? I'm not.
I mean, I have, but no, I mean, generally I don't because I just don't need to.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if that was designed from back when hard drives were expensive and physically big. Like I remember the Avid or the DigiDesign one gigabyte hard drive. Yeah. Was it a three or four? It's a 4-rack unit. Yeah, a 4-rack unit.
I dare say it was just trying to carry across workflow. People had habits by then. Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to be tempted to listen back.
Well, no, but they're just used to doing drop-ins. They're like, well, they want that functionality, and eventually they probably moved on from it. But at the time where they made it, they left it there. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's still there. I guess a lot of those doors, they don't really take things out, do they? They just keep adding and adding. Yeah.
So the quantizing, yeah, absolutely. Like when you discover quantize, like this is amazing, and groove quantizing can actually be really helpful. Yes. So something I'll often do, when I say often, this was something I used to do before I was just working with really top tier session players. But what I would often do in the past, if I had a play that maybe wasn't super tight, or even with these great players that play the pocket, you can print out maybe 8 bars of the drums, extract the groove from them, and then quantize a loop or quantize the MIDI with the groove of the live band.
Yeah.
And that sort of quantization that has that human element, that looseness, I think can really work. But in terms of gridding, I've got 2 things I want to say on it. One is that like all good decisions in music production, I think if they serve the emotional function, then it works. So having everything locked into a grid does give you a feeling, that robotic, locked in, restrained, contained feeling. So, sometimes that quantization can be right. If you want to put someone into a trance in that bridge, well, maybe it's actually right to lock everyone into the grid.
Yeah.
And then when you get out to the other side and you're sort of back in the pocket, maybe off the grid a little bit, then it works. I've done sessions where we've had a rehearsal and there was sort of unintentional accelerando and decelerando or rows. And so they're speeding up and slowing down, but it felt really good.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, it actually feels amazing in the verses, just the tension of holding that, like stringing that bar out. But then we want to be in the pocket in the chorus. So we take in the verse, we map out the click track to the rehearsal.
Tempo matter. Yeah.
Then we go tempo for the chorus.
Yeah.
And then we go back to off tempo for the second verse, and then we're back to chorus. And even in those choruses, I'm not locking in, I'm not quantizing to the grid, but we're just playing time, playing a consistent tempo. So if it serves a function like making someone entranced or really rigid, or it's meant to feel robotic and punchy so that then the chorus feels loose and vibey, then it can be a creative decision.
Yeah.
But when it's, as you said before, like, in our youth, everything should be in time. It's music.
Well, it rocked up. You never had the option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the band that we were just working with, the drummer was a little bit hesitant about his performance in some of the sections of the song. Just the kicks and snare placement weren't perfect. The pocket just shifted a little bit. And it takes a very experienced, mature drummer to just play in the pocket, where if their kick drum is 15 millisecond early intentionally, every kick drum is 15 millisecond early. Yeah. Like usually what happens is sometimes it's early, sometimes it's late, sometimes it's early, sometimes it's late. And the same with the snare. And you get this unintentional...
That's what sloppy drumming sounds like.
Exactly.
There's vibe and there's sloppy drumming. But I mean, you listen to Rolling Stones, that everything is late and behind, but it's
the
tight. Sound.
Yeah. So with this band, he said, look, can we just quantize the drums? I'm like, I said, well, look, when you want to do that, there are 2 things. One is, some drum patterns can work, but when you've got a hi-hat hitting the same time as the kick, but they don't, well, then
the flamming thing.
You're going to get this flamming, or it's even the worst when it's kick and snare hitting at the same time. It's like, is the kick going to be on time, or is the snare going to be on time? What's going to be early? What's going to be late?
Yeah.
So some patterns, if they're played sloppily, just don't work. But I said to them, in the event that you wanted to grid drums, you got to do it before everything else.
Yes.
And I said, look, we're going to try it. So I spent 15 minutes. It was a very busy section. And I use Beat Detective. I sometimes use Elastic Audio. Sometimes you use Beat Detective. It depends how tight the hits are. If they're super close together, sometimes you need to use Elastic Audio. Because of the fades. But anyway, we got to it, and the drummer said, "Yeah, it's good." And I'm listening, going, "But now, like there are also moments of that aren't right."
Yeah.
So there's maybe a few other moments where that doesn't feel right. And if we now go back into the context of the song, listen to the guitar and the bass and the vocals against the quantized thing.
And it's tough to explain to a musician, because it's hard. It is a hard thing to hear. Like, we can hear that it's just not there. It's a subtle thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the end result? The end result is we didn't quantize. And
there you go.
And it sounded fine. So yeah, quantize is a good example.
But it's one of those funny ones where a lot of these things that came out, they usually compensate they get used to compensate for lack of musicianship, whereas I don't think they were intended for it. And I think that's one of the main things to identify about new technology is that it was probably designed to make amazing musicians slightly better or to fix a thing. But when you're then taking that same tool and saying, okay, I want to take someone that back in the 60s you would have had one listen to and go, I'm sorry, you're not ready to go to tape. Practice more. That can be pushing the technology a bit hard. And I think tune-in and quantizing are both guilty of that. You can do a lot with it, but as you say, with those flams with certain hits that aren't coming down, it's only going to get you so far.
Yeah, and it can, usually just doesn't sound good. You're almost better just to say,
realistically hire a session drummer.
Well, hire a session player, or if you want to do it yourself, be authentic in that. Do the best take you possibly can, and say, "This is me. This is a recording, moment of time, snapshot of me today."
Yeah.
And I wasn't great, but I really put my heart and soul into it, and I gave it everything. And maybe that's the vibe.
Yeah. I mean, garage rock wouldn't sound good if it was quantized.
Yeah.
Like, let it go.
Yeah. What about the driving force behind some of these technological changes? Because I think that we live in a time where I believe that a lot of design and development and innovation is actually driven by capitalism. So if we look to say the early 2000s, the manufacturing of pro audio and musical instruments moved offshore to China.
Yeah.
And these were big brands. In fact, these mics we're using now, the SE, they were one of the first brands doing great stuff out of China.
Yeah, okay.
And it sort of changed that mentality of it doesn't matter where it's made, it's how it's made.
Yeah.
And I know Vox moved their manufacturing over to China. I
do remember that, yeah.
Yeah, I've got one of their AC30s from the original, early batch of Chinese made Vox AC30s. And but as the technologies become more accessible, we see these companies just flogging to the consumer market.
Yeah.
It's less about how do I make an incredible tool to control the dynamics of a vocal where I'm not worried about costs. I just want to make an LA2A or an 1176.
Yeah.
And nowadays it's so much of, well, how can I make a cheap version of this so that I can get rich, or so that I can provide a solution to the masses, which is an admirable thing. And the two aren't mutually exclusive. You can get rich and help people.
Yeah.
But I wonder how much, it'd be good to see how many products are being made today versus 60 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it's much tougher to make circuitry to do that thing that you want to do. Like, it took a long time for us to figure out how to make a clean preamp. And a lot of that came out of World War II. There was a very short period of time where we had physicists, legit physicists working on amplifiers. And they weren't even for audio, they were for radar.
Yeah.
But they solved it more or less. Like, this is how to make, things like the 990 and basically everything in the Neve came out of that era.
Yeah.
But you had that, but point being is it's not easy to make circuitry to do the things you want it to do, but introduce digital into the mix where you can make plugins to do anything. Well, yeah, I'm sure it's rampant. Like, would it be orders of magnitude more products coming on the market? And I wonder about what you were saying about capitalism as well. Does this mean Atmos was released by speaker companies? They're like, no. What? You need more speakers. We need 20 speakers in a room.
It's big speaker.
Big speakers taking us down.
I mean, yeah, maybe. And sort of like, I feel like a lot of this stuff comes out of the minds of obsessed audio nerds.
Yeah.
And we see that these companies were founded by obsessed, just enthusiasts hacking away
Yep.
that just love inventing.
And that's the avenue that's respectable, I think. That's the one you want to follow. There's no doubt that companies like FabFilter wanted to make a really good usable product.
Yeah.
They're not trying to like reinvent a limiter or a EQ, but they're just like, this is everything that I'd want from it.
Yeah. And then when something gets bought out and scaled up, and then the priorities change.
Yeah.
I mean, that culture has to filter down.
Yeah.
So if we take Apple products, I think Apple still make really, really great products.
Yeah.
But it's different from when Steve Jobs was around. Like your Mac Tower, that's probably one of the best Macs ever made.
Computers even.
Yeah,
Like,
one
so
of the best
much
computers
about
ever made.
They're just incredible. But now, it's different. They are. Well, there was that joke about that. New iPhones coming out. Like, they're actually removing the charging point on the new iPhone 15. It's like, well, how do you charge it? It's like you buy the iPhone 16.
Yeah, exactly.
Create the problem, sell the solution.
Yeah. So it's interesting. What about some if we move forward to innovations of our time that maybe we can all relate more to.
Yeah.
And so much of it is tied to the advancements in DSP.
Yeah.
And I would say more driven by the computer's DSP than assisted DSP in
these days, absolutely.
Your Pro Tools HDX and your Apollos. Mm-hmm. And it's driving some really interesting new tools. And this is the greatest strength of digital, is that in some ways you're decoupled from the realities of physics that are required in an analog space.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we see things like something as simple as track spacer that I love. So if you're unaware of what track spacer is, you feed, for example, a vocal into the sidechain, and then you put track spacer over the guitars, and then it listens to the sidechain, the vocal, and it basically attenuates the vocal frequencies from the guitars. So it's really dynamic, program-dependent attenuation for masking, and that's a great.
Try to make that into an analog box. It would be 10 rack unit and it'd cost you $100,000. It would be insane.
It'd be very, very tricky. And then we've got the machine learning type tools where they're detecting drum hits, detecting snares and kicks in multi-channel audio.
Yeah.
And you've got your...
And isolating them.
And isolating them.
Yeah.
And the stem splitters, your vocal extractors. And And I think these types of innovations, they really excite me. Like I don't feel like I need another reverb, although I always do.
You always do.
You always do. But they're the tools that get me excited. The ones that are like, that's great. That's a new workflow. And I think that the two most recent really helpful ones for me is the intelligent resonance suppression. So whether that's something like Soothe or Waves Curves Equator and Curves AQ and track spacer like these, although track spacer I don't think is machine learning, but I find those tools really helpful. They do make me a little bit lazier.
Yeah.
But they're great because as professionals, we have to get things done quickly. So any tool that's like, okay, I know what it's doing. I know how it's supposed to perform. I'm not losing by using it. I'm not like, I've done my time. So now I'll take the shortcut.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice to know that you can do it. But then there is the danger, man. You don't know, like say the resonance suppression thing. I think of this song. It was on the Graceland album, the Paul Simon one. It was You Can Call Me Al, and there's a tin whistle solo in it, and it's a specific frequency note that he hits every now and then, which is just piercing. It's 4 times it must be like the sympathetic frequency of the mic they're in front of or something, and it's way too loud. And every time I listen to it, I think, it'd be nice to turn down, but then thinking about it, it's kind of part of the song now, and I wonder about how many of those things 10 years down the track, you realize, that was actually sucking out a bit. And that's what I think is the danger with these things. And these days I approach new technology and look at it as, I don't look for the positives. I look for what like I hunt for the shortcomings because I think
Interesting.
that's the danger.
Oh, yeah.
And once I understand them, I'll understand how hard I can push them.
That's a good approach.
But because they all come out like shining new, and it's like, oh, this is amazing. I'll be able to do this, this, and this. But we've been through it. We've been through it with quantizing. Went through it with tuning.
We've been through it with the Aphex Exciter.
We've been through it with the Aphex Exciter. But tuning's a good one, right? Like there was a time when you were over tuning stuff, right?
Oh,
Me as well.
absolutely.
And then you realise, maybe it doesn't need to be that much.
Well,
these days, personally, I tune the notes that need to be tuned that stand out to my ears, basically.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a very specific pop sound.
Yeah.
But it's but again, try not to fall into that thing of fixing a broken performance of just improving a really good one.
Yeah.
But all of that stuff, I always hit it just thinking, okay, what are you doing wrong? What are you taking out of it? And
Well, on the tuning thing, it was David Kahn who put me onto that.
Yeah.
When we did the mix with the masters with him, he was sort of explaining how, well, just it's so obvious. Like
and when we went there, that would have been pretty new days for tuning, I reckon. Like Melodyne would have just come out and been usable and transparent.
It would have been, because it was 2014, so it'd probably been out 10 years. But in terms of,
but like it was only just becoming transparent, I felt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And everyone was just tuning everything too hard.
Yeah.
And then David said, but like think about the expression in a voice. If someone gets like sad and choked up, like the muscles get tighter and their pitch goes up. So why are you pulling the emotion out with the tune? I'm like, I'd never thought about that.
Yeah, if that's what you want to pull out, go for it. But it will. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right. We have a tendency to just go really hard with this stuff. I'll often hear two common things that I hear emerging producers do is overuse of Soothe. Like Soothe is aggressive. Like people don't realize that a notch filter, a very narrow band attenuation, which is effectively comb filtering. Yeah. It's a horrible, unnatural sound. Like you need to broaden the bandwidth when you're doing big carving. Yeah. If you're doing so it can.
Well, and it's specifically how it works. You do a very, very fine notch. You've got lumps on either side of the notch. So you're actually turning up the frequency next to it. So if you're like doing a notch at 3.9 to get rid of harshness, well, you're probably turning up 3.8 and 4, which is still harshness. So that's why it can kind of work against you in those situations.
Exactly. Yeah. So with Soothe doing its very aggressive attenuation, you like sort of said, well, you've kind of lost, there's nothing here. You could have just done a smiley face on the EQ and got the same result. Yeah. And all the body's gone. And the other one is, and I think this is one of those almost like the Aphex Exciter type thing where you first get one, you put it on the 2 mix and you put it up to 9 and then a year later you put it between 0 and 1 and then 2 years later you never use it again. Yeah. Is stereo width. Yes. So the Waves S1 is a big, like its mono compatibility is so bad. It is. And I see people just pushing synths wide. Like use it on a shaker, no worries. But the stereo.
What I think a lot of people don't understand about that is the information's still there. So it might sound wider to you, but what you've done is added in more audio that you might not hear, but the compressors will. You're not going to get that track as loud. You're not going to get it as punchy. Like you're losing transient response, you're losing level on that every time you sort of use those false wideners. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are better ways to make things wide. And again, I guess it just comes back down to like the fundamental understanding of sound. What is width? It is the more difference in the left and right, the wider it sounds.
That's doable. That's
you can do it. You can do it with arrangement. You can do it with double track guitars on different pickups or different guitars or different amps, hard pan left and right. That's going to sound wide. It's going to sound wider than the same guitar.
And always comparisons. Like I always think of drums are big, so don't pan them wide. Like you can, but if you pan them, if you're a little bit sort of stingy with the pan in, then panning something outside of them is going to sound like so much further to the side.
Is this my Tom panning from the song we just did?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, but in general, you know, like if it like a complex mix where you have a lot of instruments going on, if you sit the drums in one area, well, your ears already know they're big. So if you're placing things around them, it's going to sound. There's going to be so much more sort of a stereo feel to work with. And it is just that intentional positioning of places on the soundstage, and you know, it's just a great thing to learn how to do. Yeah, and it makes sense. You know, you don't put all your clothes in one drawer. You don't put all the instruments on one spot of the stage. Was it? I think there was like a Chili Peppers record that I was referencing that was like the drums were very mono. Yeah, the overheads were stereo. Might have been Californication. Yeah, okay. And it was just so punchy. Yeah, but then there's space around it, and it's like here's the center. And the thing is that this music, you know, you're listening to it on speakers. Anything that's in the middle, it's not in the middle. Like as soon as you start walking around the room, it's not in the middle anymore. Yeah, but the fact that it originated from a different location to the rest of the sound, it still maintains its difference in space. Yeah, yeah, it's an important thing. But there have been a lot of stereo widening things and MS processing units, and that's both hardware and software, which got massively overused when they got introduced. And, well, even the MS, I like MS processing, but absolutely.
As soon as you've put something, as soon as something has gone from stereo to MS and then back to stereo, even if you don't touch it, it's not as wide. Yeah. So certainly that's what I found with my hardware.
It's different, and the hardware I kind of like because it's not perfect. And when you make MS circuits, you kind of send it through one channel and then turn the voltage down the other channel, so it's like this perfect cancellation, but it's not perfect. But then those MS circuits, some are terrible and some they add something, and you kind of look for those ones that add something. But then, if you're going to do it, understand it is at the expense of, again, looking for the shortcoming. Like it is going to do something bad as well. As long as you understand that, you can't really go wrong. Yeah. It's like a saturator. If you're mixing a song, there's not a single song on the planet that you couldn't put like Decapitator on, turn it up one, and listen to it and go, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, true.
It's not a good idea though. Yeah. So it's just understand that we can be led astray so quickly with our ears, and questioning all those decisions. Yeah. It's kind of a safe way to go with it. Yeah.
And it's hard. Like every day, our ears are different. And as humans, we're so terrible at absolutes. You know, we can be working on a song and think it's great, and then the next day come in and go, really? Like, was that? How did I miss that? Even as professionals, I mean, I don't know if you find it, but I'll find that. I mean, I never have the issues I used to have. Like, I remember you would fail the car test every time. Yeah, I haven't failed the car test for 10 years. Yeah, I might decide I want to turn something up or down, but I've never had that. Whoa, that's wrong. I just gone, that sounds like my mix. It's just tweak it a little bit. But I would still come back into the studio and just think, like, what changed? Was it my state of mind? Or I find whenever I finish a record, I think it's not as good as it could have been. Yeah. But then a year later, I'll listen to it and it's actually good. Yeah. So it's that other thing to sort of keep in mind.
Well, that's part of the perfectionist. Like we're in the job because we chase perfection. So
true, and it's also just a shortcoming of our brains. Like we only have we have an incredible ability to compare things. Yeah. So if you were comparing from the rough mix to the final mix, like that's a great thing to check. Yeah. Especially if the client was happy with the rough mix. But I guess, it's like that thing of you put Decapitator on and in that moment, it might be great. And the next day it might not be.
The more you listen to it, you'll start to see
because there's no absolute. And it's just so, that's a tricky thing for us. So I like that approach of actually intentionally seeking out the shortcomings and not to diss it, but to say, how far can I push this thing and how often should I use it? It's a good approach.
And with new technology, I mean, also considering just what it was designed to do. That pitch correction wasn't designed to move something that's 70 cents out of tune up. It was probably designed for 5 cents up to things. So if you're reaching for that, understand it's probably going to break it in some way. And AI is the same. If we want to use it for songwriting, understanding it doesn't write you a song. It rips off songs. But if you've got an idea, the more you give it, the more it'll give you back. But then what it gives you back isn't the final product either.
Yeah.
It's just a creative tool
Yeah.
to use. And I always tend to question those things, that there's a creative process, right? It should augment the creative process but not replace it.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of cases of that, like automated processes where I feel like it's replacing something I should be doing. And I think in the end, those don't age well.
I agree. And I can't remember what our conclusion was in the AI podcast, episode 2, but
I think we were more or less discussing it as opposed to like critiquing it, just discussing how we were using it. So yeah,
But
if my memory serves.
and even though that was probably only 8 weeks ago that we recorded it, I just think even despite the convenience, I just think it's not really helpful. And I sort of feel like, I mean, I can see how helpful it is, but as you said, like it's going to be the Aphex Exciter, it's going to be the auto tune, it's going to be the tape saturation on everything. I think we'll just get to the point. Like I'm sure that I've noticed. I was at the gym and I heard a song, and it was not AI, but I could tell that they'd just done an arrangement of an AI song.
Yeah, right.
Because it's got those quirky, 3-4 bars in a 4/4 song, and not, or like a 2/4 bar before the chorus, and not in the way that Prince would do it. Because like that is a skillful writing tool, but it was sort of like a hallucination in the demo that kind of was cool because you've got this unexpected timing.
Those sort of bars are amazing because you don't know they're there.
Yeah.
You can listen to the song 100 times for 20 years and then one day decide to count and go, oh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas, Suno's just throwing them in. And yeah, I'm sure that I heard songs and
it would have to be true. Yeah.
And it's I think it's just we run the risk of just homogenizing the composition in the same way that we did with soft synths, everyone using that sound or everyone using that sample.
But give credit to the people who aren't professionals in this. And I love this like auto tune. There was a time when we thought it was amazing and we thought it was transparent.
Yeah.
But you can talk to any person walking down the street who has no comprehension of music production.
Yeah.
They can now hear it.
Yes.
And they can now see AI videos. And I'm sure soon enough they'll be able to hear it in arrangements that's a thing, and that will not be something people pine after, But the market will decide in the end. And I think in general, they have a good sensibility for this.
I think so. Well, we had this experience with this artist we're working with, 17-year-old artist, who basically after the first writing session with Terry, he messaged me and said, oh, I feel really bad saying this, but I really didn't like the Suno demo. Can I just do the songwriting part with Terry where we do the lyrics and the melody and the chords on the piano? And I said, absolutely. So we were just doing that to sort of save money on a demo mock-up.
Yeah.
And I think that's really heartening.
Yeah.
And I think we'll probably get more of that. And if nothing else, we know the studies. I think it was out of MIT. It was an American university that has already proven. This was of last year.
Yeah.
That students that were, this was a test, a study that they did where they had students that were using no AI, assisted AI, and completely AI. And it was maybe over a short period of time, maybe 3 or 6 months. And the students who used the AI, solely AI, their brains had atrophied in a measurable way through the lack of using it. And I think that, this is why my wife and I have said, and you and I have spoken about this too, which is like, we must write all of our emails. Like, do not use AI to write emails.
Yeah.
Because if we do, we will forget how to write. And I think there is a great risk.
And forget what you wrote. I think there was another study talking about that.
Sure,
the people
of course,
who used AI, was that, that email you sent, and they're like, I have no idea.
Yeah. It's like, because I'm not going to proofread that verbose.
Yeah. but just the fact you sent it, it's not enough to like burn neurons to say that this is what I said in that email 4 weeks ago. You know what I mean? But if you wrote it, you will remember. Yeah.
So I guess the question is, as musicians, as producers, are we brave enough to risk losing our musicality for convenience?
Yeah. It is a risk.
Yeah. So
Down with new technology.
down with new technology.
Burn this place to the ground. I want tape machines again. I don't want tape machines again.
Maybe just one to bounce mixes too.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Remember to like and subscribe.